The Greater Topeka Partnership has launched the Social Entrepreneurship Engagement Project. It's forming partnerships between the Washburn University community and the greater area for Topeka at large. Today, they brought nationally known speaker and businessman James Rhee to speak on campus. He is here with us now to talk a little bit about his philosophy and strategy. In reading your bio, James, first of all, welcome to Topeka.
Thank you.
But it's also interesting reading your bio and the different things. There are certainly CEO, businessman, investor, but also impact investor and goodwill strategist. What does that mean? How do you describe what you do?
I don't know how I describe what I do. I'm going to try. I've tried to live a life. I used to be a high school teacher. I went to law school to be a public defender. But I spent most of my career as a financier in Boston and New York. And so what I do is reconcile both of them. Like, can you invest longitudinally in people, particularly our children and particularly their mothers? That's where I spend a lot of my time. And also create a financial return that's commensurate with the risk and that it passes the sniff test on Wall Street. That's what I do.
It's talking about combining math with kindness, which seems like, how do you even make those two things work together? How do you make those two things work together?
Well, I think that I define them in a way that maybe we've gotten not used to talking about it. So I don't think kindness is niceness. I think that we know kindness when we really see it. It's a real investment in a person. I think it's maybe your favorite coach or teacher or parent that pushed you to be the best version of yourself. And it's not weak. It is an investment. And then math, it's different from measurement. Math is math. Like 2 + 2 is 4. It's been that way in every culture, people, community. I think it's a thing that connects us all. Like, it connects us through physics. So those two things, kindness and math, I'm 52 years old now. I can't be certain of a lot of things, but I do know when things are kind, and I do know when things are mathematically correct. And so I'm trying to find things that are both. And I think we do it more than we think.
And some of that is where the values-based investing comes in. Why do you feel that sort of a strategy is important?
For me personally, I'd rather not make a lot of money while eviscerating certain people. Like, I'd rather make a lot of money while making everyone else a lot of money. To grow the pie, I often say about if I help grow a pizza pie, it's quite all right for me to take a big slice of that pizza. But everyone's eating a bigger pizza pie, and that's great. And so it's a way of creating value for society. At the same time, I should enjoy the fruits of that labor too.
What is your perspective, though, on how some of this has become embroiled in a little bit of politics, especially when in terms of perhaps environmental issues in particular, in basing some investment strategies on environmental philosophies of companies, and when you talk about taxpayer dollars that are at stake or somebody's investment portfolio that's at stake, if that kind of a values-based decision isn't necessarily going to get the best value for taxpayers or the best return on an investment, is that in your mind okay? And why should it be okay with more people if that's the...
So I think these days, unfortunately, we're over-politicizing a lot of things. I do have a lot of skepticism about some of the financial products that are coming out now that are more acronyms based versus actually, it's marketing versus actually doing the work. I don't use those acronyms, actually, ever. I would answer that is, it depends on how you measure things. Like, for instance, like our GDP measurements, that measures top line for our country. It's not measuring how we financed it, how much debt did our country incur to get it. We're ignoring the balance sheet. So when I measure things that some people may say, hey, you're sacrificing returns on this particular investment, I would say, but there are a lot of collateral benefits that you're not seeing that it's having, that may happen 5 to 10, 15 years down the road. So this type of thinking, this framework, I know you know I spent some of my time at MIT, it's a systems framework, that it's not just A to B equals C. Sometimes A to B, you actually help D and F too. And so I try to measure D and F and then present it to people and say, there are other returns that are happening. Some of them may happen in less obvious ways. Let's incorporate that in the return.
And to be clear, you're not anti-capitalist. You're not against making money.
Pretty sure I've spent my entire career making money in the capitalist system. Yes.
Final thought, what would you hope that students walk away with when students in particular hear your message?
I think a lot of young people, there's a certain amount of despair right now. They're scared. The country's moving fast. Things are moving fast. There's a lot of uncertainty, right? So what I try to tell young people is that change and uncertainty, those are yeses. It always happens, right? That's part of life. And what I'm trying to do is sort of settle them down first, give them a hug, and at the same time also say, and you kind of have to know this finance theory and accounting and cognitive science curriculum. Do you want to learn it? I'll make you feel more in control, and I'll give you a hug, and you have to, and you have to know this.
A hug is nice. You need the education to go along with
Yes.
it. Appreciate that. We all need a hug sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll have links to get in touch with James and know more on wibw.com. Appreciate the discussion. And we are talking pancakes next. Here, who is serving up breakfast for a good cause tomorrow.